Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon again. My name is Adora Okole. I'm the Entrepreneurship Programs Executive with the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and I also work with the Green Team. It's nice to with the We for A team, I'm sorry. It's nice to have everyone on the call. Okay, so how has your week been? How are you all doing? Hope you're learning well from your business management training. Okay, so today's masterclass session is on recruiting and building a team. And we are honored to have Jacqueline on the call and Foko, who is our French translator. And also Tomilayo Esson, who is the Deputy Group HR Director, Pairs Holdings. She'll be facilitating today's session on recruiting and building a team. So we urge everyone to pay attention to this session. Grab your pen and your notepad as we'll be taking a lot of insightful notes from this session. Thank you. Jacqueline, over to you.
Thank you so much. So also from my side, hello everyone. I'm excited to be part of today. I'm Jacqueline and I'm part of the V4A program and I'm working for the GIZ part for the YIBA V4A program in Germany. So again, I would like to welcome you all to the session and to the start of our first masterclass. Super exciting. It's an honor to have such an inspiring group of women entrepreneurs here today. And it's great to see all our progress in the business management training, in the green management training, and that all despite all the other applications you have at the same time. So your engagement in the online training and today in the masterclass is the testament of your dedication and drive to excel in the entrepreneurial world, which is great. So I really hope you're enjoying the training and that you see your own learning progress. And if you have the time, I would also like to encourage you to start groups with other fellow entrepreneurs in this program. You can support each other, meet to work on the models together, or just using it for networking. So the program is not just learning, it's not just a learning opportunity. It's a gateway to unlock your full potential and transforming your vision into reality. So with that said, I would like to thank Aurora from Tony Elumelu Foundation for her dedication work for the V4A program, and also our today's speaker, Tomi, who made this class possible today and bring you closer to the important topic of recruiting and building a team. And of course, last not least, to our translator today, Foko. So thank you for being here and making this class more inclusive. I wish you an inspiring masterclass and success for the incredible journey ahead. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm handing over to the translation.
Okay, thank you. Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à ce premier masterclass de ce programme d'entrepreneuriat pour femmes. Donc, vous êtes effectivement la bienvenue et la Fondation, aussi bien que le GIZ, est très fière que vous soyez prêtés à ce jeu. Aujourd'hui, nous allons voir comment recruter et bâtir une équipe. C'est ça, en fait, les stratégies que les startups et les petites et moyennes entreprises doivent adopter pour faire croître leur entreprise. Donc, on aura avec nous Tommy Layo Ezan qui va nous entretenir sur cette thématique. Je suis Roland Foucault, je serai juste le facilitateur francophone qui va vous permettre de participer aisément à ce programme. Une fois de plus, bienvenue dans ce fameux programme et prenez bien vos notes. Over to you, Tony.
Thank you very much, Foucault, and thanks for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It's quite exciting to be with you today. I'll call it a discussion. So I know it's a masterclass, but I'll call it a discussion on recruiting and building a team. This is a very critical topic for entrepreneurs, especially for startups, small and medium scale businesses. We're basically just going to go through this aspect of your business and developing this process. So I'll start with this case study. Yes, so I'll start with a case study. And it's about learning from a company called Zirtual. Zirtual is a virtual assistant services company. It was a startup to entrepreneurs, professionals, and small businesses. They gained rapid popularity and experienced swift growth, leading to an expanding team. However, despite their initial success, Zirtual abruptly ceased operations in August 2015, leaving employees and clients in the lurch. What could have happened? Okay.
OK, nous allons commencer notre masterclass de ce jour par une étude de cas. Il s'agit en réalité d'une discussion. Donc, vous pouvez poser vos questions dans le chat box de YouTube. Donc, c'est le cas de Zirtual. Qu'est-ce que nous pouvons apprendre de Zirtual? Zirtual, c'est une entreprise d'assistance virtuelle qui a été mise en place et qui a rapidement connu une très forte croissance, a fait beaucoup de recrutements avec plein de clients. Mais subitement, en 2015, en août 2015, la société a tout arrêté ses activités. Donc, nous allons comprendre aujourd'hui qu'est-ce qui s'est passé et surtout comment faire pour l'éviter. Over to you.
Thank you. So let's go into the case study. This is like an icebreaker activity. Next slide, please. So what happened to Zirtual? First, it was radical scaling without planning. Zirtual had suddenly grown. Its product was accepted in the market. So there was sudden rapid scaling, which they did not have. They didn't expect the rate of growth and they were not able to plan. So the problem that Zirtual expanded its team to meet increasing demand, but lacked a solid plan to support their workforce growth. What then happened is that the company struggled to maintain operational efficiency, leading to misalignment within the team and business management challenges for the organization. There was also inefficient resource allocation and cost management. The rapid hiring spree meant that there was increased operational costs that were not matched by revenue growth, which also indicated that the team wasn't impacting the company's bottom line effectively. The consequence of this is that the financial mismanagement led to cash flow problems, contributing to the company's sudden shutdown. Now, if you look at the key issues, one, you have lack. So these are the key issues we're discussing. So there was lack of clear communication. That was a major issue. Lack of clear communication. There were communication gaps between the management and the employees, and this led to low morale, reducing productivity amongst employees, and ultimately a loss of trust within the team. There was also cultural misfit. Rapid hiring resulted in bringing in all types of employees who were not culturally fit for the organization that they had set up. And this caused a lot of friction within the team, affecting collaboration and overall team dynamics. As I've shared this now, I want you to begin to think about this big mistake or the biggest mistake that Zirtual had made in their team building efforts and how they could have avoided these issues. That is the crux of what we're going to discuss today. Over to you, Foucault.
Donc, pour le cas de Zirtual, nous allons essayer de comprendre ensemble ce qui s'est passé à travers quelques aspects. Donc, la première chose qu'il faut remarquer, c'est que on a vu que Zirtual a eu une croissance très rapide sans avoir au préalable eu une planification conséquente. Donc, le problème, donc, c'était cette rapidité dans la montée en puissance afin de pouvoir, bien sûr, honorer aux différentes commandes qu'il y avait parce que le produit avait pris. Mais seulement, il était important pour l'entreprise en même temps de mettre en place un plan opérationnel efficace, ce qui n'a pas forcément été le cas. La deuxième chose, c'est la non-efficacité réelle des ressources et surtout la non-maîtrise des coûts de gestion de cette entreprise. Ce qui fait que la croissance rapide a aussi entraîné une explosion des coûts qui n'était peut-être pas forcément liée aussi à l'explosion des revenus. Donc, ce qui veut dire qu'il y a eu une mauvaise gestion du cash qui entrait et ça ne correspondait pas à toutes les charges liées à la croissance de l'entreprise. Voilà pourquoi l'entreprise a fermé. Donc, une troisième chose qu'on a identifiée, c'était le manque de communication claire. Donc, ça veut dire qu'à Zirtual, il y avait une confusion totale et ça allait dans tous les sens. Ce qui fait que rapidement, il y avait un manque de confiance au sein des équipes et même vis-à-vis des clients. Et donc, une quatrième chose, c'était que la façon de penser, la culture. Donc, la croissance rapide n'a pas permis de mettre en place une certaine culture d'entreprise, ce qui a aussi créé des frictions et a forcément affecté tous les collaborateurs. Donc la question qu'on se pose, c'est que est-ce qu'on pense que une croissance si rapide est une erreur ou bien qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire en place en termes de team building? Et puis surtout, comment on fait pour éviter ce genre de situation? Over to you.
Thank you. So, looking at the case study, let's now go into the crux of what our session is about today. For the session today, it's basically about understanding a team. And the question is, what's a strong team? When you look at teams, how do you describe or explain what a team is? A strong team not only drives productivity and innovation, but they also foster a positive work environment and enhance customer satisfaction. So your team dynamics and the team that you put together are very, very critical to your business. Adora, you can change the slide now. They are very critical to your business. Whether you're launching a startup, whether you're running a small business or managing a medium-sized enterprise, the quality and cohesion of your team can make or break your venture. So a well-assembled team is the backbone of any successful business. So as you start up your business, as you're doing very different things, the people that you bring together are the people that will drive the productivity, the innovation, foster positive work environment, and enhance customer satisfaction for your organization. And your team is quite important. Over to you, Foko.
Oui, la problématique qui se pose aujourd'hui, c'est dans la capacitation des équipes. C'est-à-dire comment véritablement recruter et bâtir une équipe. Une équipe forte, ce n'est pas seulement une équipe où tout le focus est sur la productivité et l'innovation. Non, c'est aussi sur l'environnement de travail. Et cet environnement de travail permet la satisfaction de la clientèle. Donc, pour vous, les startups et les entreprises et les PME, il est important pour vous de comprendre que lorsqu'on a une entreprise, il doit y avoir une cohésion de groupe au sein des travailleurs ou bien des employés. Et c'est ça qui forme en réalité l'épine dorsale du succès de l'entreprise.
Thank you. So just to share with you, we cannot go through the outline, Adora. What we're going to do today, we'll start with understanding team needs, even understanding why you even need a team, the different recruitment strategies you can employ in your business to get teams, hiring process, what you need to do, how you can onboard your new hires to your business, building team culture, retention strategies, leadership and management style, and how to scale your team to scale your business. Over to you, Foucault.
Donc, à l'ordre du jour de ce masterclass, on va donc avoir 8 points. Le premier point va être la compréhension des besoins d'une équipe. Le deuxième point sera les stratégies de recrutement. Ensuite, on fera les process de recrutement. Et puis, comment est-ce qu'on accueille un employé lorsqu'on le recrute? Ça sera en point 4. En point 5, ça sera effectivement comment bâtir cette culture d'entreprise. Et surtout, en 6e, les stratégies de rétention des employés. Ensuite, on verra les différents types de leadership et de management avant de passer à comment faire que l'entreprise, que l'équipe puisse croître de façon sereine. Over to you.
Thank you. So let's look at understanding team needs. Why do we even need to understand our team needs? First of all, is that your team and the team you put together is the foundation for success. The right team can make or break business, can make or break a startup. Even if you're a solo entrepreneurship, I try to encourage people in solo entrepreneurship to think of themselves as a me, myself, and I team. And I will explain that to you as we move on. You also need to understand your team needs because you need to understand the innovation and growth requirements for your business. For your type of business, you cannot rely on the recruitment strategy for another business to be able to determine the diverse skills and perspectives that you would require for your business to drive innovation. So you need to look at your team, understand the type of skills that you want. You cannot say, oh, because company A has an accountant, I also need an accountant. Whilst you might both need accountants, there's a certain level of experience and skills that will differentiate your own accountant from company A and company B. Efficiency is also very important, a reason why you need to understand your team. A well-coordinated team improves productivity and efficiency. And finally, culture. Building a positive work culture attracts and retains talent. One of the key things that you'll find out as you move in this is that you want to retain talent in your business. You want the people that work with you to work with you for as long as they can. So building a positive work culture is critical to retaining talent. Thank you. Over to you.
Donc, pour ce qui est de la compréhension des besoins des équipes, pourquoi est-ce que c'est important? Parce que c'est en fait la fondation du succès. Une bonne équipe peut faire une entreprise ou bien elle peut détruire l'entreprise si elle n'est pas bonne. Donc, il y a aussi un deuxième aspect, c'est l'innovation et la croissance. Parce que lorsqu'on veut qu'une entreprise réussisse, il faut qu'il y ait diverses compétences afin de pouvoir développer tout ce qui est innovation. L'efficacité aussi est liée, d'une équipe est liée à la coordination et surtout à la productivité. Parce que si une équipe n'est pas bien constituée, on aura du mal à être efficace. Et pour finir, il faut comprendre les besoins d'une équipe et pour cela, une bonne culture d'entreprise est importante à bâtir au sein d'une entreprise pour permettre la rétention des personnes qui y travaillent. Over to you.
Thank you. So before we move to how to understand your team needs, which is the masterclass now starting, and you need to take notes here. Adora, do I have any comments from the students? Do they have any questions so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll be reading the comments now.
Okay.
So Saint Mark said, one, they should have been very deliberate on hiring. I think he's giving a list of
yeah, that's feedback on the Zirtual case study. Great, thank you. That's true. Yeah.
Then Hani also mentioned that the same thing Saint Mark said, they should have been deliberate with hiring. I think that's basically it.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those contributions. And you're very right. Intentionality and being very deliberate with hiring is critical to business success. What they've done is they've designed their business. And in designing their business, they've decided, oh, to scale, I need more people, but there was no intentionality behind that. So that's a very good one. Deliberate and being very intentional about hiring. Over to you, Foucault.
Donc, nous avons des premiers retours et des commentaires où une des entrepreneurs qui participe dit qu'effectivement, le recrutement doit être un processus où on doit être conscient, on doit délibérément tenir compte des aspirations des personnes qu'on recrute afin que l'équipe soit forte. Donc, ce sont des commentaires, les premiers commentaires qu'on reçoit. Parce qu'on vous a dit cette session sera essentiellement interactive. C'est une discussion. What do you?
Okay, so in understanding your team needs, how do you even begin to understand what your team needs? Or how do you even begin to understand the specific requirements for your organization? How do you begin to build the required intentionality into your hiring process? First is that you need to assess your specific needs. Why am I in business? You need to understand your business objectives, define the short-term and long-term goals, understand your business. So if you are in a green business, for example, and what you want to do is, sustainability, whilst I want to make profit, I need to ensure the sustainability, everything I'm doing is green. How do you ensure that in every process that you create, for example, you have that chain of ensuring that everything is sustainable? You find organizations that define sustainability, They create sustainable products, but they send it in non-sustainable packaging, which defeats the purpose of everything they are doing, for example. 2, you need to identify core functions. What are the core functions you need? Determine essential operations critical to success. So if you're starting your business, you need to also identify what are the critical operations that are required for me to be successful. Now, you need to get this. If you're a sole entrepreneurship, you need to think through, for example, how do I divide me, myself, and I into different functions and ensure that each function that my business needs is operationalized. What it means is that if you're alone, you need to have your accounting side, you need to have your probably packaging and distribution side, and you need to have your product manufacturing side. If you are a business expanding and trying to build a team, recruiting people, you will look at your business and ask yourself, what stage of the business am I at now? And who do I need? What do I need to grow? So you might not need an auditor from day one. You might just need to probably hire an auditor separately to support you. But you need to be able to determine at each stage what core functions you need for your business. You also need to analyze the workload. Workload in terms of assessing current and projected workload to identify gaps. If you have people that you've recruited already, be fair. Look at the workload that it will take to produce the outcome that you are expecting, and analyze, identify gaps. Do I need to add more accountants? Do I need to add more production assistants? You need to do that. Once you've assessed your specific needs, then the next thing is to identify key roles and skills. And the first thing is the role definition. Role definition. So if I need an accountant, I need to be able to clearly outline the responsibilities and expectations for that role. Otherwise, I'll just go and say, I'm hiring an accountant, but I've not defined the role. I've not talked about the specific requirements or the responsibilities. And then the accountant comes, and from day one, the accountant is not able to hit the ground running because I've not defined that. Then there's the skill requirements. List all the necessary technical and soft skills for each role. If you are looking for an HR person, or because of your business, you want your HR person to also act as your admin person, then your role specification will be very different from someone that is looking for just HR. So you need to define end-to-end what your roles need to do, and then identify the skill requirements. So if you're looking for HR, you can decide that you rather get an HR person and add administration to the person's role, for example. So you need to now list it and say, for this person needs to have HR experience with employee management, job management, leadership style, administration management, protocol and logistics. You need to list the skill requirements. What that does for you is that when you now engage and you're trying to bring people in, you're able to look at your skills requirements and see if those people have it when you're interviewing, for example. And then competency mapping. Basically, you match skills with strategic business needs to ensure effectiveness. So the needs that you had identified for your business, you need to match the competence required to carry out those skills. So for example, you identify a requirement for you to have, let's say, an accountant. Question is, what competency do you need the accountant to have beyond just pressing numbers? So if you are a sustainability business, for example, you might need someone with experience working in with green businesses, working on accounting with green businesses. You might need a carbon accountant, hydrocarbon accountant. So it's different from financial accountants. You need to be able to state specifically the competency requirement for that role. Then next is for you to align team building with goals. Strategic fit, ensure roles and skills align with the business objective. Remember that you are in the business to do the business. So the people that you recruit must also be clearly aligned to the business objectives that you've set for yourself. That is very critical. 2 is the scalability planning. Design roles that can evolve with your business growth. I think every business has the plan to eventually grow. But for example, not all of us can hire a chief financial officer today. But we can say, oh, let me hire a finance officer. But there is a career path for that finance officer. As your business grows, the person can become finance manager, from finance manager to finance controller, from controller can become CFO. So you design roles that can evolve with the business growth. Finally, is the resource allocation. Prioritize roles that drive immediate and long-term value. So you can sit today and identify your specific business needs, create your business objectives, identify the core functions, analyze workloads, do all the role definitions, key requirements, and competency map. But you see, the resource allocation is very critical. So I could have a business called, let's say, Tommy Enterprises. I can do my specific needs, requirements, identification, identifying key roles and skills, and identify that I need 100 people to take me to where I am. The question is, does Tommy Enterprise need 100 people today? It might just be that I need one, but the 100 people can be in your master plan or your workforce plan. But you need to prioritize roles that drive immediate and long-term value for your business. As business objectives are achieved, and as you begin to think of expansion, then you can add onto that role based on your initial strategic plan. Over to you, Fogo.
Thank you very much. Pour ce qui concerne la compréhension des besoins de l'équipe, nous allons aborder 3 axes spécifiques. Le premier axe, ça va être l'évaluation des besoins spécifiques. Ensuite, il faudrait identifier les différents rôles et compétences dont l'entreprise aura besoin. Et pour finir, on verra comment aligner les buts de l'entreprise avec la croissance de l'équipe. Pour ce qui concerne effectivement l'évaluation des besoins spécifiques, il est important que vous devez premièrement comprendre les objectifs de votre entreprise. Qu'est-ce que votre business fait à court, long ou moyen terme? C'est important de le comprendre. En deuxième position, dans l'évaluation, il faut aussi identifier quelles sont les fonctions principales de l'entreprise. Parce qu'en faisant ressortir les fonctions principales de l'entreprise, quand il dit donc, par exemple, ça veut dire que les fonctions clés de l'entreprise, ça permet pour vous de savoir où vous devez plus développer les compétences et surtout vous concentrer. Et pour finir, il faut analyser la charge de travail. Parce que lorsqu'on recrute, par exemple, il faut recruter un nouveau comptable. Il faudrait savoir si l'ancien comptable est déjà saturé ou pas. Parce que s'il y a trop de personnel, ça va créer des ressources oisives et forcément créer des frictions. Parce que les gens ne sauront quoi faire. Donc voilà pour ce qui est de l'évaluation des besoins spécifiques en termes de personnel. Concernant l'identification des fonctions clés et des compétences, il faut premièrement pouvoir définir les rôles, les faire clairement, déterminer les responsabilités et les attentes par rapport au poste que chacun doit pouvoir occuper. Deuxièmement, c'est de savoir comprendre quelles sont les compétences techniques nécessaires pour l'évolution et le bon fonctionnement de l'entreprise. Et pour finir, vous devez avoir constamment une cartographie des compétences dont vous avez besoin dans le futur. Ça permet quelque part d'orienter les différentes formations et de permettre aux équipes d'être efficaces. Et pour finir, il y a l'alignement de l'équipe sur les besoins de l'entreprise, sur le but de l'entreprise. Pour ça, vous devez comprendre que de façon stratégique, les compétences de chaque personnel, les compétences de chaque employé doivent être bien définies en fonction de où l'entreprise est en train de partir. Ça permet d'orienter les plans de formation. La deuxième chose, c'est de prévoir un plan de croissance. Et dans le plan de croissance, on sait exactement à quel niveau l'entreprise se trouvera dans telle année. Et à ce moment-là, vous pouvez aussi, comme je l'ai dit depuis, orienter les différentes formations et savoir qui mettre à tel poste de responsabilité en fonction de ses compétences. Et pour finir, un point très important, c'est l'allocation des ressources. Il est important pour vous de comprendre comment allouer les ressources. Quand vous connaissez les points faibles et les points forts d'une ressource humaine particulière, ça vous permet donc sur le long terme de savoir quelles sont les futures fonctions que lui peut occuper. Et en fonction des futures fonctions qu'il peut occuper, on sait quelles sont les missions dans lesquelles on le met afin qu'il ait une certaine expérience conséquente pour la suite du fonctionnement de l'entreprise. Over to you, Isa.
Great, thank you. Now, once you've identified the people that you need for your business or the immediate roles that you need for your business. I'm sure the question will be, how do I get them? How do I source them? So I will share with you, how do businesses like yours source talent? They source talent through various channels. We have online job boards, use platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and specialized industry sites. There's Jobberman, different sites. Go there, list your the jobs and the roles that you're looking for. What this platform then do is that they would suggest those roles to people that are interested, that express interest in the kind of roles or that have the skills for the kind of roles that you are advertising. There's also social media. There is no way that you have a role that you will not put it on your Instagram, Twitter, Facebook for a broader reach. Those are areas where you can get, talent for your businesses. Also at networking events. So for the type of business you do, I hope you attend conferences related to your type of business. You can attend industry conferences, there are job fairs, there are meetups. All those are channels through which you can get roles for your business. There's also employee referrals for those of you that have employees already, especially the very high performing, great talents that you have. You can also tell them they can refer people that are like themselves to come and work with you. So encourage current employees to refer qualified candidates to work with you, to work with your business. Other ways that you can source talent through various channels include through recruitment agencies. So we have agencies that are specialized in recruitment, internships, offer internships and apprenticeships. So again, back to your social media or job boards, offer opportunity for people to come intern, for students to come intern and do their apprenticeships with you. That could be like a strategy for your business. And remember that you need to offer competitive compensation also for the type of roles that you're advertising. What in your industry, what's the average pay for those roles? You need to also know so that you can get good hands to work with you. And for this, building a strong employer brand for your business from day one is very critical. Whether it's sole proprietorship or partnership or multiple business partnership type of business, you need to build your employer brand. The employer brand speaks to how people that are likely to work with you see you. What are they going to say about your organization from your social media pages, from adverts that they might have seen? Would they be interested in working with you? So you need to define your employer value proposition. If you have a website today, your employer value proposition needs to be there. And your employer value proposition simply says, what makes your company a great place to work? Why should I come and work with your company? Why should I intern with your company? So you need to define your employer value proposition. Very, very critical. Company culture is also critical. You need to promote the company culture. You need to promote the company's values and work environment. If you look at our social media pages, for example, whether you go to the We4A pages or the Tony Elumelu Foundation, you'll see that from what we promote, you would understand our business, you'll see our employees being an active part of what we do. So that is you also showcasing your company culture. Your social media pages shouldn't just show only your products. Sometimes you could also show, your company culture or talk about your company culture, your values, and all of those things. On the job site also, your employee testimonials are also great. So do you have employees that say, they love working here, or they can give testimonials, share stories about working with your company? And then you need to have consistent messaging. Ensure all recruitment processes reflect the company's brand and values. It is so critical. Your brand colors, your brand and your values, everything consistent on your pages. And engage with candidates, maintain active and responsive communication. If you have a careers link on your website, for example, even if you are not recruiting currently, make sure there's someone at the end of that email responding to people with a promise to get back to them when those jobs are available. Continue to engage. When people ask you, I would like to work with your organization, even if you are not recruiting at that point, respond to them. Courtesy demands that. Over to you.
Donc, pour ce qui concerne les stratégies de recrutement, nous devons distinguer deux choses. Les sources de recrutement des talents et comment bâtir la marque des employés au sein de notre entreprise. Pour ce qui est de la source de recrutement des talents, vous devez savoir qu'on a plusieurs sources. Ça peut être, par exemple, on leur donne l'opportunité de nous retrouver à travers des liens, des sites en ligne. Ça peut être sur LinkedIn, qui est une plateforme spécialisée pour le recrutement, comme pour dire que nous devons être accessibles sur les médias afin que les candidats puissent nous sourcer. La deuxième chose, c'est bien sûr les réseaux sociaux, comme LinkedIn, je l'ai dit, comme Twitter, comme Facebook, où on peut faire des annonces de recrutement, des appels à candidats, et puis les talents soumissionnent, et puis on va les recruter. La troisième chose, c'est les réseaux. Lorsqu'on a des événements, lorsqu'on parle des événements, on peut profiter de la circonstance pour annoncer que nous avons besoin de telle ressource, telle autre ressource. On a aussi la possibilité de dire aux employés qui sont déjà au sein de l'entreprise de faire recours à leur portefeuille, à leur carnet d'adresse afin de pouvoir nous référer des candidats qui peuvent être intéressants pour les postes où on veut recruter. Donc, il y a comme ça plusieurs autres sources, comme les agences, les cabinets de recrutement et les chasseurs de tête. Donc, il y a plusieurs façons d'avoir les membres de notre équipe à travers les différents canaux de recrutement. OK. Pour ce qui concerne les équipes, ou bien comment bâtir une équipe forte, vous devez savoir qu'au sein d'une entreprise, les employés doivent avoir une certaine identité. C'est ce qu'on va appeler une proposition de valeur. Il faut que l'entreprise propose à chaque employé une certaine valeur qui permet que lui soit content d'être au sein de l'entreprise. C'est ça qu'on va dire la marque de l'entreprise, que chaque employé doit pouvoir, pour lequel chaque employé doit pouvoir s'identifier. On a aussi la culture d'entreprise. La culture d'entreprise, c'est cet environnement enjolivial et convivial qui permet aux employés d'être à l'aise. Ça permet aussi de bâtir une bonne équipe. On a aussi les différents témoignages. Lorsque l'entreprise se comporte bien et que les employés sont bien traités, il va de soi que les employés entre eux et même dans leur réseau, au sein de leurs écoles, leur famille, ils parlent bien de l'entreprise et ça pousse les autres à vouloir travailler au sein de l'entreprise. On a aussi la façon de communiquer les messages que l'entreprise transmet, et pour ça, les employés font un relais auprès du grand public. Pour finir, il est important de pouvoir engager les candidats, c'est-à-dire que lorsqu'on veut recruter, la façon dont on communique, les employés doivent s'y impliquer au point où ceux qui sont à l'extérieur aient une forte envie de rentrer au sein de notre équipe. Over to you.
Thank you. Now we go into the hiring process. Now that you've done your due diligence, you've advertised your roles, and you have people, how do you even hire? The first thing is the initial screening, where you get their CVs or their resume, and you want to review, evaluate to see if the CVs that they've submitted meet the relevant experience and qualifications that you've advertised, assess their cover letters, if any, to see their motivation for applying for the role or their fit with your culture or the culture that you want to build. And if you are creating an application form, you would also screen through all those things. The beauty of creating application forms is that you can ask specific questions and then they can fill those questions so that you can review, makes your review time shorter. That's the beauty of application forms. Next would be to plan your interview, a structured interview with those people. First of all, I always recommend that you pick up the phone and call, have a phone interview. The phone interview helps you gauge the interests and even the basic qualification. And it helps you to determine whether this person would even move to the first round of interview. The first round of interview, I encourage that it should either be in person or a video conferencing call. You could choose to have someone interview the person one-on-one first, if you have an HR team, or if you are also the HR, have that first round of interview to ask all types of questions. You could also choose to have a panel interview. The beauty of a panel interview is that you have diverse people on a panel, and they can ask questions of the candidates, so that you have diverse opinions on the candidates and you can make a good choice for your business. It's always recommended, even if you're a sole proprietorship, apart from your own interview, look for other like-minded business. If you don't have people that can help you interview, look for other like-minded business people that can offer to interview, just a second check for you. As you do the interview and ask technical questions, it's also important to do the behavioral interview, where you ask the behavioral questions to assess their past performance, how they've done in the roles they've done before, or probably when they were in school, and try to predict, let me put, the future behavior from your workplace. So behavioral interview could look like, tell me about your past experience managing the front desk. That's a simple behavioral question, and they'll tell you how they've probably managed front desk or done something that you probably want them to do in your company. They've done it in the past. You look out for their leadership style and try to determine how they fit into their culture, into your culture. Then the next is that you can decide to administer tests. And tests are important when the people who you're bringing in, for example, they don't have any work experience. You're bringing them to do some sort of general roles. So probably you're putting a graduate trainee. You can have skills tests administered. There are also some roles that you need people that can do the work beyond just people coming to tell you in an interview that I can do the work. So you want to administer skills tests. For example, if you are hiring a software engineer, or if you're hiring an accountant and knowledge of Excel is very critical to you, you can set skills tests. You can also decide to use personality tests to evaluate culture fit. But this also depends on the stage you are in your business. You can either outsource this to HR companies that do personality tests, or you go online to look for personality tests. Very cheap, some are even free, and administer on the person. It just helps you to look at the person, how they are likely to behave, and their compatibility with your team. Then cognitive tests, conduct cognitive ability tests to assess their problem solving and critical thinking skills. The assessments are examples of where you can further ensure that the people that you are bringing in have the technical skills that you require. Over to you, Foucault.
La troisième étape dans comment bâtir une équipe, c'est le processus de sélection. Et dans ce processus de sélection, nous allons distinguer trois activités principales. Il y a par exemple l'activité de présélection. Et ici, il est question d'aller rapidement sur les candidatures, rien qu'à travers les résumés pour faire des premiers tri. On peut aussi regarder les lettres de candidature que les gars ont envoyées, ou bien l'application qu'on a utilisée, c'est une application où on a spécifiquement indiqué le résumé de chaque candidat qui nous servira lorsqu'on veut dépouiller, de rapidement savoir quelles sont les candidatures qu'on élimine d'office. Donc voilà une première étape dans la sélection des candidats lorsqu'on veut recruter. Passer cette étape, maintenant, on peut passer aux interviews structurées. Les interviews structurées peuvent se passer de plusieurs façons. Ça peut être des appels téléphoniques. Donc, vous appelez candidat par candidat très rapidement pour pouvoir avoir deux ou trois informations, ou bien des questions pièges qui permettent toujours d'éliminer. Ou bien, on peut maintenant faire un premier tour de table de tous les candidats. C'est-à-dire qu'on les teste tous sur un seul aspect, de façon à toujours faire des tri. À un niveau maintenant, on peut faire appel à un panel. Le panel, c'est quoi? C'est que les candidats passent devant 4 ou 5 experts. Ça peut être le directeur des ressources humaines, ça peut être le responsable qui va utiliser la compétence qu'on veut recruter, ça peut être un expert même externe. Donc, on met quelques experts sur place et on passe les candidats afin que chaque candidat vienne s'exprimer et Après qu'ils soient passés, les experts vont pouvoir donner leur note ou bien leur avis sur chaque candidat. La quatrième façon de procéder pour les interviews structurées, c'est les interviews pour comprendre le passé des candidats, donc leur façon de penser, leurs croyances. Et pour ça, on peut demander aux candidats, par exemple, une situation difficile qu'ils ont eu à manager dans leur expérience passée. Ça permet, en fonction des critères internes que vous, au sein de l'entreprise, vous aurez, de pouvoir faire une certaine classification de vos différents candidats. La troisième chose dans le processus de sélection, c'est l'évaluation. L'évaluation ici peut se faire à travers des tests techniques où on pose, que c'est par exemple des comptables qu'on veut recruter, on peut leur poser des questions spécifiques en comptabilité ou bien sur Excel pour savoir quels sont les degrés de compétences. À un niveau aussi, on peut aller sur l'évaluation de leur personnalité. Pour ça, il y a des tests de personnalité qui sont vendus sur le marché, qui coûtent quand même cher, que vous pouvez utiliser, ou bien vous pouvez, à votre niveau, simuler des tests sur le plan interne pour pouvoir savoir quelle est la personnalité, le charisme que vos candidats peuvent avoir. La dernière chose, c'est les tests, les évaluations cognitives qu'on fait avec des tests, qui sont des tests qui permettent de savoir si le candidat a un esprit critique à travers des questions, comme on dit vulgairement, ça peut être des questions pièges ou bien des tests psychotechniques qui permettent de voir quelle est leur capacité à pouvoir analyser des situations difficiles. Over to you.
Thank you. Still on the hiring process, another critical part of the hiring process is your reference checks. You've done the interview, you found a good candidate. Your reference check is actually very critical. Professional reference, you might need to contact previous employers, but this can only be done once they've accepted your offer, they've resumed, and so the hiring process doesn't end at interview and acceptance of offer. You have a 6-month period where they are still on probation. Within the probation period, you can do your reference check with previous employers, or if you want to do it before, you have to get their signed consent to contact the employers to verify their work history and performance. For those that have their profiles on LinkedIn, you can check on LinkedIn to re-verify and confirm. Personal references also, you can ask them to submit personal references so that you can speak with personal references. Either you say, submit a professional reference, someone that can talk about your profession, or someone that can vouch for your character. You also want to perform some sort of background check for criminal records, education verification, and all other relevant checks. Now, the final steps is final major step in bringing them in after you brought them in or bringing them in is have a meeting with all interviewers at the end of the interview, have a meeting with all interviewers to discuss and decide on the best candidate, especially if you've interviewed more than one person. Discuss the best candidates. You have to prepare an offer letter to give to them. Ensure that there is a formal offer letter. Your offer letter will dictate basically this is what you're offering them, the role, the name of the role, the expectation in terms of compensation, put a confidentiality clause in the sense that your business and proprietary business processes needs to remain confidential. Any regulatory requirements from your organization that you follow, you also put it there. And then the breakdown of the compensation, be very clear. Work hours, how long they would need to work with you, what are the work hours, so that there's a clear explanation in terms of what to expect from your organization. You also need to negotiate when the interview has been finalized. Once you have a salary in mind, before you give offer letter, you call in, negotiate to ask, okay, this is what we are offering. And you always, of course, can negotiate, have a discussion before the formal letter is finalized. And then you begin to prepare for onboarding. Start preparing for the new hires onboarding process. And this is also very critical for your business. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, deux autres étapes importantes dans le processus de sélection, c'est par exemple la- le check-up des références. Donc, ça peut être des référents professionnels. À ce moment-là, vous devez appeler les différents employeurs qu'ils ont eu avant pour poser une ou deux questions. Ça évite les candidats qui vont venir mentir sur des références. Donc, il y a ce check-up que vous devez faire, vous rassurer qu'effectivement, des références que les candidats signalent sont réelles. Donc, ça peut être aussi des références personnelles. À ce moment-là, vous devez causer avec la personne, le candidat, dans le but de pouvoir comprendre effectivement certains caractères qu'on recherche pour le poste dont on a besoin d'un candidat. Ça peut être aussi les référents passés. Donc, on peut maintenant poser des questions pour comprendre mieux. Par exemple, au niveau de son éducation, au niveau de sa moralité, au niveau de son statut en termes de criminalité, c'est-à-dire les frais de casier judiciaire. Donc, c'est autant de choses qu'on peut vérifier et pour cela, on peut prendre le soin soit des détectives, soit des Interpol ou bien, bref, il y a des services spécialisés pour savoir si le candidat, c'est le bon candidat. Donc, les étapes finales. Les étapes finales, ça peut être par exemple la décision, la prise de décision. Pour la prise de décision et savoir qui est effectivement le candidat qu'on va retenir, on fait une réunion et les différents décideurs de l'entreprise, le staff, essayent de voir et puis il y a des décisions pour savoir qu'est-ce qu'on retient. Après avoir retenu le ou les candidats, il est maintenant question de faire l'offre. C'est-à-dire que la lettre qu'on écrit au candidat plus dit nous t'avons retenu et tu es interpellé tel jour pour qu'on puisse discuter de ton salaire. Ça, c'est dans les négociations. On discute avec lui pour négocier son salaire et les conditions réelles d'employabilité. Pour finir, c'est la préparation de son accueil. C'est-à-dire comment est-ce qu'on va préparer le terrain pour que le nouvel employé puisse prendre place au sein de l'entreprise. On va te...
Thank you. Let's go to the onboarding process quickly. Onboarding process is I'm now in your organization. When I resume to your organization, what do you want me to know about your organization? So first, the orientation, welcome and introduce to the company, tell them about your company, your history, your mission, your values, and introduction to other team members and key stakeholders. You want to explain your vision, why they were hired at this point. Administrative setup is the completion of necessary paperwork. So this is where you now complete all the paperwork that you need for maybe the background check that you're going to need, the employee file that is going to be with you. You have to have some sort of identification from them that's different from the ID card that you're going to give to them. So this is where you take their government ID, all of their details. You have to have a file, an employee file created for them. Next is you also need to plan some sort of training and development, role-specific training and development. The mistake we make as entrepreneurs is that we assume that you're an accountant. I recruited you because you know accounting, come and do what you need to do. But even if I am not an accountant and I'm a business owner, I need to be able to train my accountant first on the role, on the organization, and why I have recruited them. That is what you call role-specific training. So role-specific training is to say, I know that you are an accountant, but in terms of my business, these are the requirements that we need you to deliver on. And then, of course, your company policies and procedures, you need to train them on that. And then agree initial assignments and task familiarization. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, une fois que l'employé est au sein de l'entreprise, il faut bien évidemment l'accueillir. L'accueil va passer par pratiquement 7 ou 8 étapes. On va donc commencer par l'orientation. Donc, vous, en tant que l'employeur, vous devez préparer comment est-ce que l'employé doit être, le nouveau recrue doit être accueilli au sein de l'entreprise. Pour ça, vous devez préparer un guide d'orientation. Vous devez pouvoir mettre en place tout ce qui est administratif, c'est-à-dire quels sont les documents qu'il doit fournir en complément de son dossier qu'il avait mis pour la candidature, quels sont où se trouve son bureau, il a droit à quoi, quelles sont les heures, le règlement intérieur. Donc, c'est autant de choses que vous devez préparer pour pouvoir accueillir le nouveau candidat. Une chose aussi qu'on a remarqué, c'est la formation. N'oubliez pas que même quand vous recrutez un comptable, il y a un certain nombre de choses qu'il ne connaît pas sur l'entreprise. Donc, vous devez toujours, au-delà de leurs compétences pour lesquelles on les a recrutés, leur donner des formations liées à leur environnement de travail pour qu'eux aussi, ils se sentent à l'aise dans le développement et qu'ils comprennent les autres fonctions. Over to you.
Okay. Still on the onboarding process, you need to learn to integrate them into your company culture, social integration activities. Let them be comfortable coming into your organization. After you've introduced them to everybody, the meet and greet, team launches, all those type of things. You can assign them to a mentor or a buddy. Now, this also depends on how large your organization is, but you can assign them to someone either on top of them to mentor them within the organization, or a friend that will be a buddy, probably for the first 3 months. Just be a friend and let this person understand how they can navigate the organization. You also need to encourage open communication and feedback. At the onboarding stage is also where you need to tell them performance expectations, clear communication of their job responsibilities, performance expectation, setting of initial goals and objectives, regular check-ins, and progress review with them is also critical. Remember, onboarding is not a 1 or 2 day thing. Onboarding is usually the first 6 months.
Bonjour, Germain.
The person's
Je vais t'envoyer un audio lien.
in the organization. That is the onboarding. So all of these activities are things that you need to plan within the first 6 months. Performance expectations needs to be discussed very clearly. Set the goals and objectives. Within that first 6 months also, of course, initially you would have provided tools and resources for the job. We've talked about training on policies and procedures. You need to let them know what access they will have to learning and opportunities within the organization. Now, so if you are, for example, a green or sustainability focused business, the type of opportunities they can have is probably bringing industry people to have sessions with them one-on-one at a particular time, probably until you scale and you're big enough to do proper structured training programs. Ensure that there's availability of support from your people management personnel or from you yourself. If you're a me, myself, and I type of organization, you need to provide adequate support to the employee. The first 6 months of an employee joining your organization is really very tricky. In the first 6 months also, you need to provide opportunity for feedback, because you want people to hit the ground running. You don't want to wait till after 6 months to tell someone they're not doing well. So you collect feedback from yourself, from the new hires. You can collect feedback on the onboarding process itself, how their time has been so far, what you as an organization can do better, but also provide an opportunity for them to also give feedback. Not for you to also give them feedback in terms of how they're settling in so far and all of that. Over to you, Coco. You're muted, Coco.
OK. Dans la suite du processus, il y a l'intégration au sein de la culture d'entreprise. Pour cela, vous devez permettre aux nouveaux recrues de bien s'adapter aux autres et de savoir comment est-ce qu'on se salue, à quand se tiennent les réunions et ainsi de suite. Et si possible, lui donner un mentor, c'est-à-dire quelqu'un qui va l'aider à prendre ses fonctions, surtout quelqu'un qui sera pour lui un guide pendant son séjour au sein de l'entreprise. Et aussi mettre en place des systèmes d'encouragement et de feedback. On a maintenant aussi les attentes et les performances qu'on attend de l'employé. C'est des choses que vous devez préparer avant que lui n'arrive. Et dès qu'il arrive, vous lui dites clairement quelles sont ses responsabilités, quelles sont les performances qu'on attend de lui mois par mois, semaine par semaine, et quels sont les indicateurs qui permettent d'être objectifs dans l'évaluation de ses performances. Il y a bien évidemment la formation qui est continue. Donc, au sein de l'entreprise, vous devez lui montrer qu'il a des possibilités de formation, des opportunités qui vont se présenter, et il est important qu'il en soit conscient afin de savoir comment gérer sa carrière. Pour finir, en 7e point, mettre en place un système de feedback, prendre quelles sont ses appréhensions, son avis sur peut-être les 6 premiers mois au sein de l'entreprise. Ça, il doit en être conscient qu'à un moment, il sera évalué pour qu'il prenne effectivement le pas au sein de l'entreprise. Over to you.
Okay, then. So that's basically the onboarding process. And why is the onboarding process very important? First is that it provides you an opportunity to introduce your company. You help them understand your culture, your vision, your mission, and what you do as an organization. It also facilitates early connection of your team members to the organization, to the key stakeholders. They quickly understand this is how you do customer service here. They quickly understand this is how you make profit here. So that is the importance of onboarding. It also ensures that the new hires are equipped with the necessary skills. Now, a lot of times when we talk about skills, we mistake skills to be, oh, let me send them to a particular school, or let me get a teacher to come and train them. The engagement with them also about your company is a skills training for them. It reduces the time that you now require to gain the right competencies, reduces the time they need to adjust into your organization, and they can contribute even more, quickly to your organization. They can contribute quicker to projects and all of those things. And it clarifies the responsibilities and the performance expectations for the role. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, une fois que l'employé doit arriver au sein de l'entreprise, vous devez comprendre que c'est une personne qui vient d'arriver et ne connaît rien de l'entreprise. Donc, vous devez par conséquent avoir une procédure d'accueil bien structurée. Ça permet que l'employé comprenne bien l'entreprise. Ça permet qu'il comprenne les missions, les valeurs de l'entreprise et qu'il se les approprie, parce que ce n'est pas seulement une question de compréhension, c'est aussi se les approprier. Ça permet que l'employé comprenne qu'il a des parties prenantes sur qui l'entreprise compte pour pouvoir rendre des services efficaces et compétitifs auprès de sa clientèle. Vous devez aussi clarifier ses performances et les attentes telles qu'on a dit. Il doit savoir exactement quand et comment est-ce qu'on attend telle chose de lui et quels sont les indicateurs qui permettent qu'on puisse l'évaluer. Vous devez le rassurer sur les compétences, le rappeler en fait les compétences qu'on attend de lui et les connaissances qu'on suppose qu'il a et que c'est ce qui a favorisé son recrutement. En termes de stratégie d'intégration, il faut aussi tenir compte de la promotion sur les réseaux sociaux à travers les team building. Les team building, ça veut dire des activités qui permettent aux employés de se revigorer, de consolider la cohésion de groupe. Et le fait aussi d'allouer des mentors aux employés permet de faciliter leur intégration. Et enfin, encourager qu'eux-mêmes, ils communiquent sur l'entreprise et qu'ils fassent connaître leur fierté d'être au sein d'un tel environnement. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So we've done it also all everything on onboarding. Just to summarize, the benefits for a structured onboarding process: you have increased productivity, you have higher retention rates, you have a very strong company culture, and you have enhanced employee engagement. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, l'avantage, donc, quand vous avez une procédure d'accueil bien structurée, c'est que ça augmente la productivité. Vous avez de fortes chances que vos employés mettent l'ombre au sein de l'entreprise. Il y a la culture d'entreprise qui est vraiment forte. Et enfin, vous avez un engagement rassuré de vos employés. Thank you.
Okay, so I want you to think of a recent team you have worked with and summarize your experience using 3 words. So in the comment section, look at a team that you had worked with recently or the team that you're trying to build. Did you have the right onboarding done for you? Summarize your experience in 3 words. Focus.
Ok, donc, faites-nous un partage d'expérience. Dites-nous une ou deux choses d'une expérience que vous avez eu à vivre dans le sens de bâtir, recruter et bâtir une équipe. Donc, il y a le chat box de YouTube, vous pouvez faire vos commentaires et puis on en va relayer. Donc, on vous écoute.
Okay, Adora, if there's anything to share, I'll move to the next stage of the presentation.
We're still waiting for the comments from the participants. But while we are waiting for them to drop 3 words on their experience, I'll just share 2 comments that the participants have shared or the attendees have shared. Chico said, I have really learned something from this program. I was far behind about building a team, but I'm now equipped with the skills you have shared here. Kimby said, I think one aspect to note during the recruitment process is that sometimes you recruit character and train for skills. So now I'll take the 3 words from the participants. So John Kibin said his words are passionate, dedicated, and devoted. Kimby's comments, insightful, instrumental, and informative. Israel's comments, inspiring, creative, and challenging. Miriam Mali's comments was how her words are engaging, passionate, and dedicated. Mercy Wagura, insightful, enriching, and inspiring. Salawu, very impressive, delivery and eye-opening. John Bosco. John Bosco said, skillful, organized, and optimistic. That's my current team.
Nice, nice.
Can we take more? Let's take 2 more.
Yes, let's take 2 more.
Okay, Lydia said passionate, knowledgeable, understanding, a team I recently worked with. Chico said insightful, nurturing, and engaging. Thank you.
Great, great, great. So if you think of building, these are really great attributes of the teams you guys are working with. If you think of a team that you're going to build, one of the things you should ask yourself, when will they say this about the team that I built? And we're going to go quickly into building teams and your strategies for building teams. Foko, do you want to say anything? Next, please, Adol.
Yes, just to say that, oui, Adam a fait quelques commentaires des personnes qui apprécient cette session. D'autres disent c'est vraiment impactant. Et il y en a qui ont dit qu'ils ont compris que, au-delà de tout ce qu'ils apprennent, ça leur donne des compétences pour recruter. Parce qu'ils ont compris que un employé qui est à l'aise, c'est une entreprise à succès qu'on est en train de bâtir. Donc, on a juste comme ça quelques retours des personnes qui sont impressionnées et qui sont contents. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. So we go to the key processes in building a proper team culture. Now, these things that you've just described now, how do you build a team that looks at your organization or your startup or your business and say these things, same things about you? First, in building a team culture, you need to communicate your vision and values. Clearly articulate your company's mission, the vision, and the core values. What's your company about? Ensure that all team members understand and align with these principles. Next is that you need to foster open communication. Open communication is very critical because it encourages a transparent workforce. It encourages transparency amongst your workforce. Create channels for regular feedback and discussions. When you create an open communication, you kill gossips. There's no gossip, or maybe things are happening and you as the business owner or the business leader do not have information about this thing. So you need to foster open communication. You need to promote collaboration, develop opportunities for your team members to work together on projects, bring people together, create different projects. So even if the project is not related to accounting, get your accounting person to work with them. Let everybody work together and collaboratively. Recognition and rewards is very critical. Implement programs to recognize and reward individual and team achievements. Beyond the salary that you give, when people do well, recognize them. Even if it is to call them amongst other team members to clap and say, this, what you've done has been done really well, or you give letters of commendation. It's very critical. Use both formal and informal recognition methods. There are times you just give someone a pat on the back. There are times you give formal letters and all of that. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, dans la 5e partie, nous allons partager avec vous quelques astuces pour pouvoir bâtir une culture d'entreprise. On va donc commencer par exemple par la communication sur la vision et les valeurs. Donc, vous devez clairement permettre à chaque employé de comprendre quelles sont les missions, les valeurs et les différentes fonctions de l'entreprise. Ça, c'est important pour mettre en place une culture d'entreprise. Et quand les employés comprennent ça, ils s'alignent sur ces principes-là. Vous devez aussi faire la promotion d'une bonne collaboration. développer les opportunités pour que les membres puissent travailler ensemble sur des projets. Ça permet de mettre en place une cohésion. Surtout, ça permet que les employés puissent se comprendre à demi-mot, faciliter des activités qui permettent qu'eux ils développent leur sens du relationnel et tout un ensemble de bonnes qualités nécessaires pour le développement de l'entreprise. Vous devez aussi leur permettre d'avoir une communication très efficace, créer des canaux réguliers de discussion pour permettre à chacun d'avoir l'occasion au moins une fois sur une période de s'exprimer. Ça peut être la semaine, ça peut être le mois. Et pour finir, comme astuce, là maintenant, ce sont les reconnaissances et les awards, donc les prix. Il est important dans une entreprise que de temps en temps, on puisse distinguer les personnes qui se sont démarquées. Over to you, Tommy.
Thank you. So moving on how the key processes in building team culture, remember diversity and inclusion is also very important. Create a diverse and inclusive workplace environment. How everybody needs to feel important. Everybody needs to be included in your workplace. Encourage the inclusion of different perspectives and ideas. Everybody should have a say. Everybody should be able to bring in ideas. Everybody should be allowed to do their work without fear in your organization. You also need to learn to lead by example. Ensure leaders and managers model the behavior and attitudes expected of the team. Let leaders walk the talk. Also have regular team meetings, very, very critical. Have regular meetings to discuss your progress, to discuss challenges, to discuss successes. I always recommend that performance checking and performance discussions should be had like every month. Use these meetings to reinforce the company culture and values. Over to you, Foucault.
Donc, d'autres astuces pour pouvoir bien bâtir une culture d'entreprise, il faut toujours travailler dans la diversité et l'inclusion. Ça veut dire permettre à tout le monde d'avoir l'occasion de s'exprimer, qu'il n'y ait pas des comportements excentrés, que les gens ne se sentent pas inclus. Donc, ça doit être une gestion inclusive où tout le monde sent qu'il est important et intervient dans la décision. Il y a aussi le leadership par l'exemple. Donc, vous devez plus montrer aux gens comment faire en faisant que de donner des ordres ou de dire. C'est important lorsqu'on est un bon manager de toujours être celui-là qui est le premier à exécuter et puis les autres vont suivre après. Et bien évidemment, permettre qu'il y ait des réunions régulières où les gens s'expriment, font des critiques et qu'on puisse apporter des résolutions. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Now, the importance of building a team culture, which is what we've talked about, the building a team culture, but you need to also understand why it's important. First of all, is the fact that it enhances engagement. A strong team culture increases employee engagement and satisfaction within your team. It improves collaboration. It increases retention. You want to have team members that would come and stay, not team members that would leave after doing the entire interview process. So it increases retention. It attracts top talent. When you build a strong team culture, your employees would automatically be brand ambassadors for your brand. And people would want to work with you. People would naturally want to see why you work or why your organization is what they are. The Tony Elumelu Foundation, for example, is an example. People want to work with the Tony Elumelu Foundation because of the impact from the Tony Elumelu Foundation and how we empower young entrepreneurs all over Africa. People want to be a part of that. So you need to build a strong team culture to attract top talent. It also improves performance, it enhances performance for your people, and then it aligns everybody to the organizational goal. Everybody understands that all they need to be aligned to the company goals and objectives, and it creates a unified direction and purpose for people working with your team. And then it improves resilience and adaptability, actually, because a positive culture helps teams to be more resilient and adaptive to change and better equipped to handle challenges and uncertainties within your business. Over to you, Foucault.
L'importance d'une bonne culture d'entreprise est que ça permet un fort engagement des employés parce qu'ils sont satisfaits de leur emploi et ils sont vraiment commis afin de pouvoir atteindre leur but et le but de l'entreprise. La deuxième chose, c'est que ça améliore la collaboration au sein des équipes de travail. Ça permet aussi de retenir les employés. Donc, les employés sont fiers d'être au sein de l'entreprise et ça évite un turnover, un taux de rotation des employés élevé. Donc, une bonne culture d'entreprise permet aussi d'attirer les talents. On a par exemple le cas de la fondation de l'Union où lorsqu'une entreprise fait bonne presse, les gens ont envie d'y travailler, les gens s'identifient à cette entreprise-là et c'est ça qui permet d'attirer les talents. Donc, les personnes performantes viennent travailler peuvent venir travailler avec votre entreprise. Il y a aussi les performances de l'entreprise proprement dit qui sont améliorées et surtout, l'une des importances, c'est l'alignement de tous les employés sur les objectifs et les buts de l'entreprise. Et pour finir, c'est la résilience et l'adaptabilité. Lorsqu'il y a une bonne culture d'entreprise, les gens sont moins colériques, les gens s'adaptent facilement aux besoins du client et à l'évolution de l'entreprise. Over to you.
Thank you. So you might ask me, how do I keep my employees longer in my organization? How do I ensure that I don't have short cycles of employees coming in and going? Apart from some of the things that we've discussed, you need to employ retention strategies for your employees. Employee development is very critical. You need to put something aside to develop your employees. They need to feel like they can grow within your organization. So what growth opportunities are you giving them? If you're a small business, your growth opportunities needs to be discussed with the employees. So if you're a finance officer today, you might like to tell them that I want to have a CFO in future, and I believe you have that propensity to go into the CFO position. How do you support their desire to be better certified and all of those things, knowing that those skills would come back and be used for you? There are platforms that business people are using all over the world for employee development. There's Udemy, there's Coursera. Some of those courses are free. You can enroll them on those courses. Employee development is key. There's also work-life balance, wellness programs, ensure they have, I'm sure in their offer letter, you'd have put something on vacation, the time they can rest from work, and then put wellness programs in place, have people, your friends in the health industry or in the wellness industry, come talk to them about wellness, work-life balance, or what we like to call work-life integration. Let someone come talk to them. Competitive compensation. The compensation you pay. If you want good employees, you have to be competitive for your salary, for your bonuses, for the incentives that you make available. We talked about recognition and reward and the importance of recognizing, especially employees that have done well and contributed really well. Strong leadership. Apart from you as a business owner, if you have managers within your business, they have to have effective communication. They have to be supportive. They have to understand your vision and mission and be able to cascade down to your team members. Career mobility, if there are opportunities for internal promotion or cross-training or job rotation within your organization, make it available for them. Employee autonomy is also important. Empower them at different levels, depending on the decision-making that you can give them. Empower them. When employees are leaving your organizations, please document it. Take feedback, do exit interviews so that you can have information that you can use for continuous improvement and ensure that you have an engaging, positive work environment. Over to you, Foko. Foko. OK?
Oui, pour ce qui concerne les procédures de rétention des employés, on partage avec vous quelques points clés, comme par exemple le développement de la compétence des employés. C'est important que chaque employé ait une carrière et sache quelles sont les opportunités qui s'offrent à lui au fur et à mesure qu'il va mettre l'ombre au sein de l'entreprise. C'est là où le programme de mentoring est important. Donc, on a aussi le bon vivre qu'il fait au sein d'une entreprise. Ça peut être les programmes de santé, les programmes de sport ou les congés. Les employés doivent savoir qu'ils sont dans une entreprise où tout ça est respecté. On a aussi les compensations compétitives. Ça veut dire que vous devez avoir des politiques salariales ou bien de bonus qui sont attractifs par rapport à vos concurrents. Il y a aussi les reconnaissances. Les reconnaissances et les distinctions qu'on doit mettre au sein de l'entreprise pour permettre aux employés qui se distingue de pouvoir être reconnu. On a aussi le leadership qui doit être effectif dans la communication, dans la vision de l'entreprise qui est suffisamment partagée. On a aussi les possibilités de changement de poste, de fonction, d'affectation qui mettent les entreprises, qui créent une certaine émulation encourageante pour les employés et ils n'auront pas tendance à laisser l'entreprise partir. On a bien sûr l'autonomie. Les employés doivent savoir qu'ils ont la latitude de prendre des décisions et que l'entreprise leur appartient et puisqu'ils sont une partie prenante entière. On a aussi les interviews de sortie. Si quelqu'un doit malheureusement quitter le bateau, il faut qu'il se sente à l'aise dans le traitement qui va être fait à son endroit. Et pour finir, l'environnement de travail globalement doit être un environnement enjolivant, un environnement qui permet aux employés de se sentir à l'aise. Et pour ça, il y a les activités de team building, il y a la culture d'entreprise qui doit être positive et tout ça. Next, please. Over to you.
Thank you. Now let's talk about you as the leader or the leaders within your organization, the effective leadership styles that helps you to get the best out of your team. So I'm going to discuss 5 leadership styles. Not necessarily you can have all of them or you can have 2, but just to let you know the type of leadership styles that helps to foster collaboration amongst your team. First, we have the transformational leadership. It inspires and motivates teams to learn through your vision and how enthusiastic you are about your organization or about your business. There's also the servant leadership, which focuses on serving the team and prioritizing their needs and development. There is democratic leadership, where you encourage your team members to participate in decision making. So decisions are arrived at by allowing all team members be a contribution to the decision making process. There is autocratic leadership. Now, a lot of people look at it and they're like autocratic leadership, but it's also actually very useful, especially when you have crisis situations. It helps you to make decisions independently. And the laissez-faire leadership provides freedom to team members, supports autonomy and creativity. Over to you, Coco.
Donc, en termes de style de management et de leadership, on va partager juste quelques-unes. On a par exemple le leadership transformationnel, on a le leadership de service, c'est-à-dire vous êtes vraiment le serviteur de tous vos autres collaborateurs. On a le leadership démocratique, où tout le monde se sent impliqué dans les décisions qui sont prises. On a le leadership autocratique, donc vous êtes le dictateur, l'homme qui dicte tout. Et enfin, on a le laisser-faire, dont les gens sont libres d'apporter une certaine créativité et laisser libre cours à leur ingéniosité. Over to you.
Thank you. Then benefits of the different management practice, best management practices rather, that you should employ or use in your business. First is we've talked about communication over and over again. Clear communication is critical. Maintain open, transparent, and frequent communication. That is very important. Goal setting. You need to set goals. Establish clear, achievable goals and the expectations from each team member. It's very critical. Delegation. There are times you might be required to assign tasks based on team members' strengths and skills. Use that a lot of times. It's important. Performance feedback. Provide regular constructive feedback to your team members. Don't wait till appraisal periods to say, oh, you didn't do well. Let them have constant, as mistakes are being made, as you see errors, or as you notice things that can be better, provide constructive feedback. And like I said, recognition and awards, acknowledge and reward team members for their efforts. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, toujours dans le leadership et le management, on va vous partager quelques bonnes pratiques de management. Comme toujours, avoir une communication qui est très claire, ouverte et fréquente. Toujours poser les objectifs, donc les définir afin que tout le monde sache où est-ce qu'on va. Déléguer quand c'est nécessaire, parce qu'il ne faut pas que tout soit centré sur quelqu'un. Il faut déléguer au maximum lorsqu'on est occupé. Mettre en place des mesures de performance. Comment est-ce qu'on peut déterminer que cette personne a atteint un objectif ou pas? C'est ça le feedback. Et comme on l'a toujours dit, mettre en place des programmes de reconnaissance, distinguer ceux qui se démarquent. Over to you.
Thank you. Conflict resolution. Now, one thing you need to understand is that in every workplace, in fact, every environment that you find yourself, there'll be conflicts. So what are the conflict resolution techniques that you can apply, especially when you're building your team and you're trying to ensure that you have the right culture with your team? First is to practice active listening. You need to listen to all parties involved without interrupting, no matter how you believe that you already know what happened and how the mistakes could have been made. Please practice active listening. Empathy is very critical. Show understanding and consider each person's perspective. Mediation, facilitate a neutral meeting to discuss issues and find common ground. Don't be that type of leader that, adds fuel to the burning fire of conflicts within your team. Facilitate neutral meetings, mediation, so that everybody finds a common ground. Remember, this is your business. You're scaling, you're building. You don't need some conflicts to come pull that down for you. Problem solving, collaboratively identify the root cause of problems and develop solutions. Compromise, find mutually acceptable solutions that satisfy all parties. Remember that every conflict is an opportunity for your organization to become better. It's an opportunity for your organization to identify a process that can be part of your procedures and process in the organization. So conflicts needs to be managed well and adequately. Over to you.
Oui, quelques techniques de résolution de conflits. On a par exemple l'écoute active. L'écoute active qui vous permet, on appelle généralement ça aussi le concept de cadre-oreille. Ça vous permet de pouvoir être vraiment à l'écoute des gens et de leurs problèmes. On a aussi l'empathie. L'empathie, c'est de montrer à toute personne qu'elle compte et que cette personne-là est importante pour votre entreprise. Ça devient une certaine empathie. Donc, c'est l'amour qu'on crée au sein de l'entreprise. Il y a bien sûr la médiation. La médiation, c'est que les employés doivent savoir qu'il y a cette possibilité qu'en cas de souci, une tierce personne peut venir permettre au cours d'une discussion d'éclairer la difficulté qu'on a ou le conflit qui s'est créé. On a bien évidemment la technique de problème et de solution. C'est de pouvoir mettre sur la table un problème et comme un système de brainstorming, on réfléchit et on développe ensemble les solutions. Et pour finir, on a les compromis. Les compromis, c'est lorsque on a délibérément quelqu'un qui reconnaît qu'il est en tort, mais il accepte son tort et puis on s'accorde sur un win-win ou un gentleman agreement, c'est-à-dire on s'accorde pour oublier de façon mutuelle ce qui s'est passé. Donc, voilà des techniques qui vous permettent d'éviter ou bien de combattre les conflits. Over to you.
Thank you. Now, one of the things that you need to also realize for your business is that you plan to scale. Your business needs to grow. Sometimes as you grow, your team members also, you need to plan for scaling. You need to scale the team. Adapting roles, role evaluation is very important. As your business grow, you need to continuously evaluate and adjust roles based on changing business needs. Job descriptions that were used when you were hiring might change when you're 2 years into the business. So roles needs to be constantly evaluated. Skills development, invest in training and development to help current employees adapt to new roles. You can be the trainer. You can be the trainer, but ensure that intentional skills and development provisions are made for employees. Internal mobility, promote mobility to retain talent and fill new positions. Identify people's capability and skills, move them around within the organization, let them develop. A lot of times, eventually you might need to put someone in a very high position, maybe a leadership position. What would make that easy for you is that you've invested in their growth and you've allowed them to move around to understand the different aspects of the business. That makes it very easy to appoint leaders. Plan for future needs. Make your growth projections. Analyze your business growth projections to anticipate your future hiring needs. Workforce planning is very important. It's basically developing a plan that aligns with your strategic business needs. But this time, it's just a plan for your workforce. It's a plan for how your workforce will grow. So you might be saying, I'll recruit 1, from month 1 to 6, but by month 7 to 12, I might need 2 people. You need to continuously, analyze and develop your workforce plans. Build a talent pipeline by networking and maintaining relationships with potential future hires. So even if you're not bringing them in now, know already where you're going to get the talent that you need to support your business. Technology integration is so critical. Leverage technology and automation to improve efficiency and reduce the need for immediate headcount increases. So, over to you, Foko.
Donc, en 8e point, nous allons voir comment faire pour faire croître une entreprise. Pour ça, il y a 2 aspects qu'on va aborder sur ce slide. C'est d'abord l'adaptation des rôles et la planification des besoins futurs. Dans l'adaptation des rôles, il est important ici que vous devez prévoir que chaque fonction, chaque rôle est évolutif et que ça dépend des changements qu'on va avoir dans l'affaire. Il faut aussi tenir compte du développement des compétences à travers les formations. Donc, voilà des mesures que vous devez mettre en place pour prévoir la croissance de votre équipe. Et bien évidemment, n'oubliez pas les programmes de mobilité. Ça, c'est un peu les affectations. Si votre entreprise est dans plusieurs villes, vous devez avoir un programme pour les différentes affectations en fonction des compétences des uns et des autres. Pour ce qui est des besoins futurs, la planification des besoins futurs va dépendre, par exemple, de vos projections de croissance. Vous devez les savoir afin de savoir quelles sont les différentes orientations. Ça va dépendre aussi de la planification de votre force de travail. Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire que les personnes qui travaillent au sein de votre entreprise, quelles pourraient être leurs limites par rapport à la projection de croissance que nous venons de faire? Et à travers ça, on détermine quels sont les programmes, quelles sont les affectations, quelles sont les formations à faire. On a aussi le tunnel des talents. Le tunnel des talents, c'est en fait, l'entreprise doit pouvoir bâtir une image de marque qui permet aux personnes compétentes d'être un peu comme en arrière-plan, comme des remplaçants. Donc, ils doivent être vifs. Chaque temps, venir demander si on veut recruter de nouvelles personnes, parce que ces personnes ont hâte à rentrer dans le système de notre entreprise. Ça peut se faire à travers le networking et la maintenance des relations publiques ou bien des relationnels. Et pour finir, il y a l'intégration de la technologie. Donc, toujours savoir que les technologies sont évolutives et que la nôtre que nous utilisons doit aussi évoluer et s'arrimer facilement à la croissance que nous prévoyons pour notre entreprise. Donc, voilà comment on peut maintenir la croissance de l'entreprise, de l'équipe. Over to you.
Thank you. Now, you might also want to consider outsourcing and develop, depending on the stage your business is. You might decide that instead of recruiting roles into your organization, maybe you consider outsourcing. You might decide to outsource recruitment to an outsourcing company or outsource auditing. But in outsourcing, you might decide, first of all, identify probably your non-core businesses. What are the roles that you do not need now at the stage of your business that you can easily outsource to free up internal resources? So if you want to focus, for example, on production and product manufacturing, do you want to outsource instead of burdening your current employees with the duty of still doing the finance and HR and all of that? Do you want to outsource that aspect? You need to determine that. But of course, in outsourcing, you have to do your cost-benefit analysis to determine the financial viability of outsourcing to your business. You also need to use outsourcing to access specialized skills that are not available in-house. And they might be skills that you don't need for long. So for example, you want to build a website. You do not necessarily need, depending on the type of your business, if your business does not need a software engineer or a website designer, you can just outsource, get someone to build for you and give to you guys, and then you can run in-house. You can decide to run in-house or outsource externally. Again, it depends on the requirements and the need for your business. Choose outsourcing partners that offer scalability to meet growing business needs. Now, this is very critical. Your business will not always be in one place. The plan for your business is to grow. So make sure you have outsourcing partners that can quickly identify that things are changing for your business, and they can help you to quickly ensure that you recruit immediately as you need talent. Risk management is also very critical. Evaluate and mitigate risks associated with outsourcing, including data security and quality control. So you need to think about the type of business that you run. Are there going to be security issues? Is it going to lead to inadequacy in customer satisfaction? Can I still have my proper quality control? Look at all your risks and manage it effectively. Over to you, Foko.
Donc, l'autre possibilité pour faire croître les compétences de notre équipe, c'est par exemple de tenir compte de la sous-traitance. La sous-traitance, c'est-à-dire faire recours aux compétences externes. Ça peut par exemple être spécifiquement dans le cas des activités qui ne sont pas clés, dans les fonctions qui ne sont pas nos fonctions principales. Là, c'est facile qu'on laisse que quelqu'un d'autre à l'extérieur puisse le faire. L'autre chose, ça peut être une analyse de coût. Donc, on peut se rendre compte que faire une activité à l'extérieur nous coûte moins cher que la faire à l'intérieur. Forcément, on va la faire à l'extérieur. L'autre possibilité, c'est que faire recours à l'extérieur, à la sous-traitance permet de donner accès à des compétences pointues. Donc, ça peut être des compétences pointues que nous n'avons pas en interne et dont on a besoin dans le cadre, aussi même pour renforcer nos équipes. Parce que quand vous travaillez avec une compétence externe, vos équipes peuvent facilement augmenter aussi leurs compétences en interne. Donc, on a aussi la stabilité dans l'évolutivité. Faire recours à la sous-traitance permet de rester flexible, et de savoir que les compétences de l'entreprise vont au-delà des compétences internes de son équipe. Et pour finir, bien évidemment, il y a le management des risques. À chaque temps, vous devez jauger le pour et le contre. Est-ce que c'est mieux de faire vraiment recours à la ressource externe ou bien on la fait en interne? Vous devez balancer, faire l'analyse pour savoir si ça vaut le coup en termes de sécurité et tout ce que vous pouvez imaginer. Merci.
Okay. Just to take you back to the case study at the beginning of the program, where I talked about Zirtual that had set up a startup business and could not, meet up with the scale and the growth, and they had to, stop operations. What are the key lessons and takeaways? First is that number one, strategic growth planning. Ensure that the team expansion aligns with your company's financial health and operational capacity. So at every point in time, you need to have a clear and sustainable growth plan, which includes financial forecasting and resource allocation. Do not recruit, don't over-recruit when you've not done your financial forecasting, know what money is going to come in, and what your business can make. Be very careful when you're scaling. You also need to ensure financial discipline. Maintain strict financial management practices to ensure that growth is financially sustainable. Implement regular financial reviews and adjust hiring plans based on your company's financial health. Effective communication is critical. We've talked about communication, and this was a key takeaway from that case. Foster open and transparent communication channels between the different levels of the organization, from the lowest employee to the highest employee in the organization. Regular team meetings, regular updates and feedback loops can help maintain alignment and morale. Culture fits, very critical. Prioritize hiring individuals who align with the company's culture and values. Develop a strong employer brand and utilize behavioral interview techniques to assess the culture fit. Ensure that the people that you bring into your organization align with your organization's objectives, the organization's goals, and the values that your organization represents. Scalable process, develop scalable processes and systems that can grow with the team and the business. Invest in technology and management practices that support scalability and efficiency. Over to you, Coco.
Donc, pour finir, revenons sur l'étude de cas que nous avons vue au début. Donc, concernant Zirtual, vous allez voir que nous allons ressortir cinq points qui permettent de mieux comprendre les leçons qu'on peut tirer en fin de compte. On a par exemple au niveau de la stratégie de croissance, la planification de la stratégie de croissance. Donc, la leçon ici, c'est qu'il faut se rassurer que l'expansion de l'entreprise est alignée sur la santé financière et les capacités opérationnelles. Ça, c'est important. Donc, pour cela, l'entreprise doit pouvoir avoir un plan de croissance stable, durable et gérer bien ses ressources, que ce soit financières ou humaines. La deuxième chose, c'est la discipline financière. Donc ici, l'entreprise doit savoir qu'elle doit constamment avoir une bonne santé financière et globalement avoir une stratégie de long terme de son financement. Et sur le terrain, ça peut se passer à travers des ajustements réguliers du plan financier qu'on s'est fait pour assurer sa santé financière. La troisième chose, c'est la communication efficace. Donc ici, il faut être transparent et avoir des canaux de communication dans notre entreprise. Sur le plan pratique, c'est à travers des réunions, des mises à jour qu'on fait, des feedbacks qu'on prend de ces différents collaborateurs et même toutes les parties prenantes. Le quatrième point, c'est l'adaptation à la culture. Donc, ici, il est question de comprendre que ce qu'on retient, c'est que on doit avoir une bonne culture d'entreprise qui concerne chacun individuellement et globalement tout le monde doit connaître les valeurs. Donc, sur le plan technique, c'est que les employés doivent développer une forte personnalité. Ils doivent avoir une marque individuelle qui est reconnue comme étant la signature de l'entreprise. Et pour finir, c'est les process de croissance. Donc, la leçon ici qu'on retient, c'est que l'entreprise doit développer des, des reflets de croissance qui permettent de maintenir en haleine toutes les équipes. Et le système, l'entreprise doit avoir un bon système qui a été mis en place. Techniquement, ça correspond à l'investissement dans les technologies, à l'application des bonnes pratiques de management et d'efficacité opérationnelle. Over to you.
Thank you. So yeah, so in conclusion, we started with a virtual case study, and we've gone through recruiting for your team, building for your team, your recruitment strategies, your strategies for building a strong team culture, leadership and management style. The case highlights the critical importance of strategic planning, financial management, effective communication, and cultural alignment in team building. By learning from the failures of this company, other SMEs and startups can implement these lessons to build more resilient and cohesive teams, ensuring sustainable growth and long-term success. Thank you very much. Over to you, Foucault.
En conclusion de notre étude de cas, qu'est-ce qu'on retient? On retient qu'il est important d'avoir une planification stratégique de son entreprise. C'est très critique, qu'il faut mettre en place de bonnes pratiques de management financier, une communication efficace, une culture d'entreprise alignée sur la construction de l'équipe, un management par le learning by doing, et surtout que l'échec que Zirtual a connu doit pouvoir vous aider vos startups, vos petites et moyennes entreprises à implémenter des stratégies qui vous évitent de tomber dans ce type de piège, surtout de tirer les leçons et être résilient dans tout ce que vous faites afin que la réussite de votre entreprise sur le long terme soit garantie. Donc, voilà ce qu'on pouvait dire ce jour et on vous remercie pour avoir participé à ce masterclass. Over to you, Adora.
Thank you. Adora, please.
Thank you so much, Tomi. Thank you so much for that engaging, interesting session. A few comments again from the attendees. Tengem said, thank you so much for this enriching session. For the moment, we are just two of us, but I hope to apply this lesson to recruiting and building a beautiful team as my business grows. I am grateful. Evelyn said, this masterclass is very insightful. I relate to it. It goes beyond business environments. Thank you. Emerald Udom, recruitment for my startup has been one of the topics in business startup that bothers me because a team could either build or mar your business. However, this session has been very insightful. Then the last comment from Dorcas, the presentation flows so well and it's easy to understand. The presenter is doing a great job. So I'll take questions now from the session. Saint Mark is asking, on Gen Z staff hiring, what are the best practices to observe as a business to fully tap into their potential while also contributing to personal and professional growth? His second question, what's your thinking on hiring for attitude and training for skill. Thanks for this session. So I'll just, Foco can translate that, then take on from there.
Oui, ok. Thank you, Adora. Donc, oui, nous avons eu déjà pas mal de commentaires des personnes qui ont participé. Ils ont bien apprécié, comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, la formation. Et nous sommes maintenant sur la session de questions-réponses. Donc, il y a, please, Adora, can you send me the question? Donc, il y a un certain nombre de questions qui ont été posées. Et je vais laisser que la dame puisse d'abord répondre, et puis je vais revenir sur la question et la réponse qui a été posée. I think Ezan can respond. I am going to translate. Thank you, Ezan. Go on.
Okay, thank you. So in terms of Gen Z, especially when it comes to startups, small and medium scale businesses, first of all, is you need to understand that I think we all have a mindset when it comes to Gen Zs already. This mindset also existed when Gen X was coming into the workforce, when millennials were coming into the workforce and all of that. So it's important that we understand, first of all, that for all of us, Gen Zs are now entering the workforce in large numbers. The requirements for them coming into the workforce still remains the same as other people. It's just the behavioral changes that might be different. Some of the things that you might expect from Gen Zs is that they definitely bring fresh perspectives into your organization, a fresh outlook on problem solving, and then of course, technological proficiency. They are never afraid to work with technology. Now, the critical thing is you need to understand Gen Z preferences. What do they like? First, your work environment. It has to be flexible and it has to be a very dynamic work environment. They also always seek opportunities for growth and development. They love recognition. They love you to recognize them. They prioritize companies with strong ethical standards and social responsibilities these days. Communication, transparent communication is very important to them. We have talked about the recruitment strategies. Honestly, if as Gen Zs are coming in, of course, you will still leverage social media and all of that. But how do you now engage, or retain Gen Zs? Continuous feedback is important. Giving them opportunities to make meaningful impact in your organization is also important. So if you recruit me as a Gen Z accountant, for example, I'll get bored very easily, but I need to be able to take on meaningful projects that align with my values, that gives me opportunity to showcase that beyond being an accountant, let's say, for example, it's a green business. They can come on social media and say, I'm an accountant for a green business. As an accountant, this is what I do, this is what I do. Those are the things that ginger them. And you need to basically understand in terms of how to manage them. How do you manage? Again, you have to have like an open and transparent communication style. For example, you have to have a very positive work environment. Very, very critical for you to have a very critical work environment. You need to think of how you're going to engage them beyond just the regular engagements that you do. So career development is important to them. How they grow is important to them. How you include them. So foster inclusivity is very important. How they learn, continuous learning. Can they learn from you? Do they have the opportunity to leverage technology from you? Do you give them the required recognition? Do you support their work-life balance? Because Gen Z people are very big on mental health. So do you provide access to mental health resources and support programs, for example? And see, I understand that a lot of us are small businesses. Providing access to mental health resources does not mean that you go out of your way to go and do something really big. It could just be that somebody, could be you also, sends regular newsletters on mental health. If you are able to, you can ensure that you have flexible hours and the option for them to work remotely. If your business supports that, you can do that. Engage them, talk to them, and understand their communication preference and support their growth. Those are the critical things for working with Gen Z. Remember that employees and employees any day, anytime, whether you're Gen Z, millennials, or Gen X, it's just that Gen Z have now come, they are faster paced and they are not patient. But when they have the right engagement and the right environment, they are able to work and are retained very well. Over to you, Zoko, before I answer the next question. Thank you.
OK. Donc, je vais donc procéder à quelques traductions. Je commence par les questions et les remarques. Nous avons 5 marques qui disent sur l'embauche du personnel de la génération Z. Quelles sont les bonnes pratiques à observer en tant qu'entreprise pour exploiter pleinement leur potentiel tout en contribuant à leur épanouissement personnel et professionnel? Que pensez-vous du recrutement sur l'attitude et formation axée sur les compétences? Merci pour la séance. On a le potier qui dit comment peut-on gérer le problème des membres du personnel qui quittent leur emploi sans une procédure de démission appropriée? Christian est mon nom. On a Epamba Justin qui dit après avoir écouté toutes les idées de l'équipe, si les points de vue de toutes les parties ne sont pas efficaces, devons-nous prendre leurs idées juste pour leur plaire? Donc, on a un autre qui dit beaucoup de travailleurs partent après avoir été formés et finissent par être une concurrence. Comment pouvons-nous contrôler cela? Bon, je ne vais peut-être pas tout lire. Donc, ce qu'il faut retenir, c'est que globalement, on vous a donné les stratégies pour recruter, les processus pour sélectionner, comment faire pour retenir les employés, comment bâtir une culture d'entreprise, comment faire pour que votre team puisse croître. Donc voilà, à notre avis, un ensemble d'éléments que vous devez revoir afin de pouvoir mieux comprendre comment est-ce qu'on bâtit une équipe pour pouvoir soutenir une entreprise gagnante, une entreprise à succès. Donc là, j'ai fait juste un résumé global de ce que Tommy a dit. OK, merci. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so the second question, Adora, before you take over, was asking about hiring for attitude and recruiting for skill. So that it's a hiring philosophy that basically says that the candidate's attitude, work ethic, and cultural fit over their current skill or technical qualifications. First is that I really need to correct something. For your business, at the stage your business is, see, that technical fit and technical qualification is very important because you do not have the time to go and train for technical qualification. So you need to define a base technical qualification requirement for every role. That is very critical. But once you've been able to do that, the idea for that higher for attitude and recruit for skills is that while skills can be taught and developed, attitude and character traits are more ingrained and harder to change. So it's important to prioritize attitude and recruit for skill. Prioritizing attitude would mean that you want candidates who align with your company's value, your company's ethic. They are trainable and they have potential for it. So, for example, if you are looking for production assistance or production team, there might be, you don't need someone that understands production. You just need someone that is trainable and has the right attitude. And this, is also very critical. It's a very important philosophy that a lot of recruiters use. The benefits of the approach is that when you recruit for skill, for attitude, there's a positive workplace attitude. It's easier to create a positive work environment, and then innovation and creativity is easily entrenched in that organization. So by focusing on hiring for attitude and recruiting for skills, you can build a resilient, motivated, and cohesive workforce that drives long-term success for your organization. So the approach recognizes that while technical skills are so important, the right attitude and cultural fit are number one, and they are crucial for achieving sustainable growth and maintaining a positive workplace. So my answer to that question is, first of all, determine what skills that you require for that role and determine the base technical requirements. once you've been able to determine that, please prioritize attitude and cultural fit for your organization. Thank you.
Donc, la question posée concerne le conflit qu'on a souvent entre les compétences et l'attitude. Donc, Tommy nous explique clairement que s'il y a un conflit, mieux vaut choisir celui qui a de bonnes attitudes. Parce que généralement, lorsqu'on veut recruter, on fait un profil du poste, qu'on communique et les candidats viennent sur cette même base. Donc, il faut supposer que les candidats qui viennent devant vous ont minimalement ce que vous attendiez d'eux en termes de compétences. Maintenant, il y a l'attitude qui compte plus. Vous devez donc évaluer les différentes attitudes et on vous a montré plusieurs techniques d'évaluation. Ça peut être même au niveau de la personnalité, ça peut être au niveau des tests cognitifs, ça peut être au niveau du savoir-être, du savoir-vivre. Donc, on vous dit à compétence égale, il faut toujours choisir quelqu'un qui a une meilleure attitude. Quelqu'un même dira, même à compétence inégale. C'est pour dire que ce qui compte le plus, c'est le mindset, c'est le comportement que l'employeur va afficher au sein de votre entreprise quand cette personne va travailler. Donc, voilà un petit résumé de ce point ou bien de cette question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you, Fopo. Because of our time, I know we have a lot of questions. I'll just take one more question and we end the session. I also wanted to apologize to the Portuguese speaker. So Nadia is unavailable today, but we promise to send you the recorded version in Portuguese to all Portuguese speakers. So on to the next question. This question is from Justice Kwesi Kakra. He said, is it good as a business owner to be using the word everyone is replaceable anytime you are having a conversation with your team? Then the second question is, can I recruit immediate family members for a startup? Any pitfalls? Thank you.
Okay, so the fact that you even need to say everyone is replaceable it's a problem already, because without saying it, your organizational culture should reflect it. By the time you say it, it comes out as kind of rude, or you're threatening people. You don't need to be an organization that threatens people. Or if you're an organization that has proper policies and procedure, and there's business continuity policies, there's risk management, and people understand the importance of continuous improvement, they see it easily without you saying anything. So the negative implications for coming out to just say it is that there's job insecurity, and it can create a sense of insecurity among employees, leading to stress and decreased job satisfaction. And also there will be reduced loyalty. So you need to look at it. It affects your company culture. So what you need to do is balance your messaging. Acknowledge that there are contributions, but also have your policies and procedures that says, if you are not doing well, there's always an inroad to how we do it. We replace people in our organization. And then on recruiting family members, if you are going to recruit someone that you cannot send to disciplinary committee, that you cannot query, then you should not recruit. So family members, bringing them into a business is actually like a double-edged sword. It can bring a lot of benefits because of trust, loyalty, shared vision, and things like that. But it also has its own potential challenges like favoritism, lack of professionalism, conflict of interest. So the benefits I've told you, yes, trust and loyalty, they can have shared visions with you, but then the part where you probably lack of professionalism, you cannot discipline, you cannot issue queries, those are the downfall of that side. But there's always a way to do it. If you are going to recruit family members, just make sure that your policies are clear. You need to have a formal recruitment process. The fact that you are my family member doesn't mean I should not interview you, which I would usually do for anybody coming into my organization. Make sure that your performance management requirements are also well documented with that person from day one. Conclude performance reviews and provide constructive feedback like you would for any other employee who was probably not your family member. And also maintain professional boundaries. Encourage your family member to maintain professional boundaries at work. They must behave very well. The standards of behavior should not be different because they are your family members. So it's not bad, but it's a two-edged sword. So you need to choose what which of the swords you are ready to deal with, whether you're recruiting or not. But if you're going to recruit a family member, you need to be able to discipline and you need to be able to communicate your policies and procedures clearly to them. Thank you. Over to you, Foko.
OK, thank you. Donc, nous avons deux questions. Une question, c'est sur les membres de famille. Est-ce qu'on doit les recruter lorsqu'on est une start-up? Et l'autre question, c'est le fait que est-ce qu'il est important de toujours dire aux employés que tout le monde est remplaçable? Une façon de dire personne n'est indispensable. Donc, pour ce qui concerne cette deuxième question, effectivement, dans une entreprise, tout le monde est remplaçable. Mais le plus important, c'est de savoir qu'une entreprise est un système. Et vous devez veiller à ce que ce système soit mis en place, que ce soit les procédures, le recrutement, la production. Ça permet que, effectivement, si quelqu'un est absent, qu'il puisse être facilement substitué par une autre personne pour que la continuité de l'entreprise soit assurée. Donc, maintenant, est-ce que c'est essayant de le dire à chaque fois? Peut-être pas forcément. Mais toujours est-il que noter qu'une entreprise doit être un système et que autant on peut déléguer, autant on peut muter, autant on peut affecter. Il ne faudrait pas qu'une affectation, une mutation, voire même un décès bloque le fonctionnement de l'entreprise. Pour ce qui concerne les membres de la famille dans une start-up, la famille, c'est des personnes ordinaires. Il est important que vous ayez confiance en ce membre et que ce membre accepte de rester professionnel. Maintenant, si au sein de votre entreprise, vous avez mis en place les procédures de recrutement telles qu'on a dit, si vous avez mis en place même les process de fonctionnement, il n'est pas question pour ces membres de la famille de ne pas respecter ces procédures. Ça va de soi que tout le monde doit être géré à la même enseigne et que le fait que le membre de la famille soit recruté, ça doit être quelqu'un de productif. Parce que si la personne n'est pas productive, ça sera plutôt une personne qui viendra au sein de l'entreprise pour décourager les autres. Donc, recruter un membre de l'entreprise, oui, si c'est nécessaire et si la personne est prête à jouer le jeu autant que tout le monde. Non, si ce n'est pas nécessaire et si ça va plutôt être une charge pour l'entreprise. Merci. Over to you, Adama.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you once again, Tommy, for this insightful session. And thank you, Foko, for the translation. I've learned a lot. And like I saw in the comments, this session has been loaded with bright ideas that they can apply to their businesses. So thank you all for joining and thank you for following. I've been seeing everyone's comments in the comment section, in the comment box. And we also have the attendance link, which is at the details section on YouTube. So you can click it just below the video and register your attendance at this session. It is very critical. So we hope to see everyone again at the next session, at the next Masterclass session. And for all details relating to the program, every question you have and inquiries or concerns around the program, we'll send you an email. We'll address everything via email. Thank you again, Tony, and thank you, Foko. Have a great day, everyone. Foko, Tommy, do you have any last words for us? Then Foko can translate.
Okay, I just want to wish everyone the best as they set up their businesses. There's no one size fits all. Just understand your business, continue to believe in your vision, and I'll see you at the top. Thank you.
Donc, pour finir, il est important pour vous de croire en votre business et de croire au futur. Voilà globalement le dernier mot. N'oubliez pas de remplir la fiche de présence. Dans la description de cette vidéo, il y a une fiche, il y a un formulaire, une fiche de présence. S'il vous plaît, veuillez la remplir pour que tout le monde, pour que la fondation sache que vous avez suivi cette formation. Donc, merci et à la prochaine session. Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.